Denise Mazzola is a certified professional dog trainer with over 20 years experience training dogs and people. If you've got a doggy dilemma, Denise can help.
Welcome to another episode of Doggy Dilemmas. Today we have a very special guest sitting here with me on the couch. Her name is Mustang Sally, and she's all the way from Fort Worth, Texas. A few months ago I applied for an extreme mutt makeover contest which is taking place in Texas, and last week I got the call that they had selected me as one of the 15 national trainers selected to train a dog that was deemed not adoptable by Texas standards. Now you need to understand that in Texas, they see this particular shelter, the Humane Society of Fort Worth, sees over 25,000 animals a year. So their selectivity for what animals get to be adopted has to be very high. And Mustang Sally is a Catahoula leopard dog mix. Because of her mix, she's a herding breed. She will not kennel well. She has some very intense behaviors that come out when she sees moving things. And there's a lot of Catahoulas in Texas, so she would normally have not been adopted. She's received her second leash on life, if you'll excuse the pun, because she's been selected for this extreme mutt makeover. She knows nothing when I received her. I went down to Texas last Saturday, picked her up, drove all the way home, and we're going to start training her. I have 8 weeks to train her the best that I can to make her adoptable. There are some behaviors that are required for the program, such as a basic heeling, which is walking next to me on my left side. If I move quickly, she needs to move quickly. There will be an obstacle course, and all I know about the obstacle course is that there's agility equipment, there's hay bales, and last year there was a chicken. So part of what I'm going to be doing is exposing her to as many different farm animals as I can. Mustang Sally also was an outdoor dog in Texas, so the indoor life has proved a little challenging for her, but not too bad. For example, she's tried to run through my slider door not knowing that there was glass there. She figured that one out fairly quick. She did not like the dishwasher this morning when I turned it on. She didn't like the sound and she barked at that. And I haven't even tried the vacuum cleaner yet. I'm not a fan of vacuum cleaners either, so she and I may share that behavior with that. Okay, so what we're going to do today, what I've been doing this week and what I'm going to sort of catch you up on is I've been getting to know Sally, trying to figure out what motivates her. She's interested in food, but not overly interested in food, so I have to be careful how much I feed her before I work with her. And she's actually she's not eaten out of a bowl since I've had her because all of her meals are training opportunities. I'm using every interaction with her as a learning interaction. And normally, of course, she's not on the couch, but it makes for better TV, doesn't it, Sally? Okay, so we're going to move to the kitchen. I'm going to show you the treats that I've picked up and decided that are in her treat hierarchy, which means she really likes them and she's willing to work for them. And then I want to show you what the final behaviors are going to look like with my dog Thor, who is a well-trained dog, so you can get a picture in your mind of, oh, that's what that looks like. And then we'll go back and we'll start training Sally, and I'll show you how I'm going to get there. And the next 8 weeks are going to be pretty exciting because each show we're going to show you what progress she's made, and she's going to make some progress, and it's going to be pretty exciting. So let's go to the kitchen and see what we can get accomplished there. You ready, Sally? Come on. Okay, so what I've done this week is I have spent some time getting to know who Sally is, and I've been trying to find things that motivate her. The key to training is motivation. If you can't motivate your animal, whether it's a dog, a cat, a killer whale, or a dolphin, then you really don't have any ability to train the dog unless you're going to use adversives, and that's not a choice here. Part of the selection process for this contest was that we were involved in animal welfare, rescuing animals, which I have been for over 10 years, as well as being what's now sort of being coined as a positive reinforcement trainer. So that was part of the selection process. So what I have here, and the other thing that I tell all the clients that I work with is take a few days and get prepared. And that's what I did the last few days as myself. I try to practice what I preach as much as possible. So what this is just a bowl of her dog food. And like I said, she's not eaten any meal since I've had her from a bowl. I've been luring her into sits, downs, and stands, excuse me, using her dog food. She's also very underweight. You can't really see that through her fur, but if you were to feel her, she's about 35 pounds, and she should be about 45 to 50 pounds. So part of my goal also, and part of the contest, is to condition her and get some weight on her and improve her overall physicalness. So her food is a big part of the reinforcements that I use to train her, and we do that at mealtime as well. So there's at least 2 training sessions per day, irregardless of how busy I am, because I have to feed her. This is a treat called Natural Balance, and she tends to like these as long as it's fresh. I had some not so fresh Natural Balance with me, and she wasn't so interested, so I've brought some fresh stuff. This is cheese from the deli, and I just go into the local grocery store and ask for deli ends. And ends are a little bit less expensive, but you can still get the quality food that I want to feed her. So this is cheese, this is roast beef, she tends to like that. This is a combination of some turkey and ham, and this is liverwurst. Not a fan personally, but dogs love it. So these are the things that I'll be using today, as well as some treats. The Bill Jack liver treats are excellent treats. She likes those as well. And this is a company called iVet that's a sponsor of the Extreme Makeover Contest, and they sent us home with some treats as well. So she seems to like those, so we'll work with those as well. So one of the keys to training is being prepared. If you're not prepared, you can't train. If you don't know what motivates your dog, then you don't have any way to train her. The next step that I'm going to be taking with her, and I'll be sharing that with you as I progress, is to find out what toys she likes. Catahoula leopard dogs are herding breeds, so any moth or bug that has flown into my house, she has annihilated. She just gets it. I've never seen anything like it before. So we should have some good options with toys as well, and we'll do that later on. Prepare. The other thing I want to show you in terms of being prepared is I don't have just those. Whoop. In my freezer, I also have a bag with individual baggies of all of these treats that I've just shared with you. So when the pile in the refrigerator is diminished, I'm all set to go. I have other bags, a little quick microwave action on these, and they'll soften up and they'll be ready for treats. So it's all about being prepared so I don't have to spend any extra time. And all of you who have dogs at home are very busy as well, and it's very hard to find time to train the dog. So again, take a few days, get yourself organized, get your treats, get prepared, and then you'll be ready to go. Okay, what I want to do next is I want to show you some of the final behaviors that I'll be working on with Mustang Sally, with my dog Thor, who's well trained, and then you can have a visual picture of what we're working on, so when you see the little pieces that we're trying to put together, it'll make a little more sense to you. So let's go outside and I'll show you how Thor is doing with his healing. So we're outside with Thor, and what I want to show you quickly and briefly is what the final heel behavior will look like. You know, some people think it's walking nicely on a leash. For competition purposes, there's very specific positions that the dog needs to be in, whether you're doing AKC obedience or rally obedience. I won't need Mustang Sally to be that specific, but I want to show you what the end behavior will look like. And it's complicated to teach. So let's get Thor back in heel position, heel, which is ultimately sitting on my left side. I am going to click and treat him. Probably don't need to, but might as well be successful, and then you can also see how that will work into the situation. So any movement I make, he's supposed to stay on my left side. So I'm just going to turn 180 degrees, Thor heel, sit, good boy, sit, Thor heel, good. So I didn't need to cue him that time to sit. I'm going to turn into him now 180 degrees. He needs to get up and get out of my way. Thor heel. Good boy, sit. Good boy. Thor heel. That was better. Sit. Good. If I turn to the left or to the right, or I change my position, my direction, you'll see that he'll follow me. So let's do a little bit of that. Thor heel. Yes, good boy. He's looking right at me, very nice. I'm going to turn to the right and come back. Good boy. He makes it look very easy because he's, get back, good boy. Anytime I stop, he needs to sit, door heel, get back. Good boy. If I turn to the right, he'll turn with me. If I come back to the left, he'll stay with me. If I do a zigzag, he'll stay with me. Sit. Stand. Door heel. Do a pivot, he'll stay with me. Good boy. Do another pivot. Yes, come on. Yes. Ooh, that makes me dizzy. Good boy. And the automatic sit. When I stop, he sits. Generally, I don't need to ask him. All right. So that's the end result of healing. Thor makes it pretty easy, and I hope it looks as pretty as it looks from my perspective when I'm looking down at him. And that's going to be one of the goals that we're going to be working on with Mustang Sally. So let's go back inside and take it from there. So we're going to start working with Sally, and I'll show you some of the things that we're working on. We're working on multiple behaviors at the same time. Given that there's only 8 weeks to get this dog trained, I have to follow my plan, and multiple behaviors is part of that. So what I'm going to show you is, first we're going to start charging the clicker. And what I'll be looking for, I'm going to be accomplishing 2 things at the same time. I'm going to watch for her to look at me, and when she does, I will click her. Now, she's very interested. I have the liverwurst and all my treats set over here on the table. I also have some in my hands, but she hasn't figured that out yet. Sally, hey, there you go. Look, I have some too. So we'll start working, so I don't want to get her too frustrated. I'm going to be watching for her to look at me. You'll hear me click, which marks that behavior, and then I'm going to deliver a piece of liverwurst or a piece of cheese. Those are the choices I've selected for this starting behavior. The key to most behaviors is eye contact. If she's not looking at me, I can't accomplish much of anything. Sally, hey, good girl. Oh, she says. Good girl. So it's very quick when she looks. And right now, she's actually just looking in my direction, which is fine. And I'm going to be looking at her. She's not an established learner. She's a kindergartner. Oh, that was very nice, honey. In that she doesn't know how to learn yet. She's figuring it out. Moving her head. Good. She picks it up a little bit, and I give her a click for that. Yes, good girl. So she's moving her head back and forth, trying to determine which head movement gets her the click and gets her the liverwurst or the cheese. You can tell she's wagging her tail. She'll see if she can come over and help herself. That's not going to produce anything, and I don't need to get excited about it. Just let her figure it out. She hasn't been fed yet today. Good girl. Now, I don't want to give her any assistance. You're not going to hear me. When I train alone, I don't talk. I just observe. I don't want to give her any assistance in helping her pick her head up to look at me. I want her to figure it out for herself. The initial training will be slightly slower, but in the long run, any future behaviors that I try to teach her will be faster because I've taught her to think and I've taught her to learn. So that's kind of a tricky concept to see, and I think you'll see it a little bit, or you might have seen it with Thor already. Sally? Good girl. So I'll click her for coming away. Now I'm going to have to increase how often I click for her because she's a new learner and I can't have too much downtime. She needs to have constant information that she's doing what I want her to do. That's a good girl. So we'll click her for getting up. Good. There's that. I have not lived in a house. I don't understand those sounds I hear. So there's some distractions going on. Her ears are up and her tail is wagging and her head is turning. Yes, good girl. But she is clearly having a hard time focusing on me and the liverwurst. She really wants to go figure out what's happening in the other parts of the house. But considering she's only been here 5 days, yes, the fact that she'll just sit here, there's one, good girl. The fact that she's just going to sit here and sort of pay attention, trying to figure it out while there's distractions is really pretty good for her. Okay, I'm going to go on and we're going to do some sits and downs and stands. And for this, I'm going to use her dog food because I've been working with her on these behaviors. Did you get it? And I also, come on. I also would prefer her to be here in this position. This is what's called heel position, sitting at my left side. And this is primarily where all of her meals take place. And now I'm going to bring her into a stand. Very nice. And the reason I'm using her dog food is these are, well, they're brand new. I've only started them on Monday. Now we're going to do a stand. Little treat. And then I'm going to do a down. Very nice. I'm going to do another stand and into a sit. Good girl. So it looks very simple, but it took me, come here, Sally. It took me 3 days to get her to lure into a sit. And it was with every meal, picking her head up. Sally? So she would, she would stand. I would move her head up, and she's really got it now, which is really nice. So we'll do that one more time for her. Not too much food. I don't want to. We've got some other fun things to do. Come here. Oh, liverwurst. Look, I know. Liverwurst is much more exciting than dog food. Sally, good girl. Oop, lost a piece. So all of the sits, good girl, are happening here next to me. We'll do a down. Good girl. We're going to do a stand. Good girl. Back into a sit. Back into a stand. Good job. Good. Good girl. Okay. So part of heel position is that the dog needs to work in this magic area on my left side. So what I'm trying to establish with her now is that everything great happens on my left side. So the sits, the downs, the stands. I'm also breaking up those behaviors. And by that I mean she can stand and lie down. She can lie down and she can stand. And she can go from a down to a sit. So you can get about 6 different transitions using just those 3 behaviors. You've heard, I've not said the words to her. I've not put them on cue. Once the behaviors are at an 80% success rate using my hand signals, which will be sit, down, and stand, then I will start to add a word to it. But there's no hurry in adding a cue to the behavior. You always want behavior first, then the cue will happen in a matter of days. Okay, you ready for the next thing? Okay, so let's just take a break, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how I'm starting to shape her to stand on a box and what that has to do with healing as well. Ready? All right. Okay, so here we are with Thor. Stay. Down. Stay. Thor is a 10-year-old yellow lab. He's been clicker trained since he was 8 weeks of age. He's very operant, which means he thinks and he understands that his behavior, when he gets it right, will produce a click and will produce a treat. He's extremely food motivated, and you'll see that difference between what you just saw a little bit with Sally and what you're going to see with Thor. Now, the ultimate goal for him is to put his front feet on this white box. I will be clicking and treating any front foot movement that looks to me like it's headed towards the box. So sniffing the box, looking at the box, moving to the box, and then ultimately putting his feet on it. He's a very quick learner, and I have to be very slow and conscientious about what I'm doing with him, or if I get too many wrong clicks, I'll end up with him jumping over the box instead of doing what I want him to do on it. Sniffing the box, looking at the box, moving to the box, and then ultimately putting his feet on it. He's a very quick learner, and I have to be very slow and conscientious about what I'm doing with him, or if I get too many wrong clicks, I'll end up with him jumping over the box instead of doing what I want him to do on it. So let me release him. Go ahead, release. That's just for being near the box. Yes, good boy. So he's going to have to slow down or he's going to slide right off this thing. And you can see how he's always looking at me, checking in. Is that the behavior? Is that the behavior? Nope. So that was a click for jumping. I don't want to get too much more. I don't want to get any more jumping over the box. That's not it. Good boy. So we got 1 foot. Backing up is another behavior that he has, so you'll see him back up occasionally to just test. Is it backing up that we're working on today? So you can see I clicked once for him jumping over the box, and we've got a lot of jumping over. The surface of the box, it gives a little. He may be a little bit hesitant to actually put his feet on it. I've been able to stand on it. I know it's safe for him, but he may have to figure that out a little bit as we go. Again, I don't cue him. I'm not going to lure him. If we weren't filming, I wouldn't even be talking to him. Leave it. I would just be waiting for him to do something near the box. I've been able to stand on it. I know it's safe for him, but he may have to figure that out a little bit as we go. Again, I don't cue him. I'm not going to lure him. If we weren't filming, I wouldn't even be talking to him. Leave it. I would just be waiting for him to do something near the box. Okay, so I'm going to have to, what's called, good. I'm going to start clicking and treating him for looking at the box again because we lost, yes, we lost that behavior. You can hear he's slamming the box. Okay, so I'm not going to click and treat the 1 foot. I need him to get both feet on the box. So I don't know if you could see, but his other foot came up off. It doesn't matter what I reinforce him with, he's extremely food motivated. So there's 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. I want 2. Yes, that was a little better. We're still going over. Yes! Good boy. So 2 feet on the box. He got the handful of turkey and ham. I want to give him the equivalent of $1,000. But you can see, I don't want jumping over the box. So I just have to be patient and wait for those front feet again. It's hard to believe he's 10. Yeah, you have to be patient. There's something about standing on it that's just not. I'm going to go back to clicking any foot on the box. Leave it. Yes, good boy. All right, let's try again. Okay, come over here. Lie down. Down. Okay, so stay. You can see that Thor absolutely loves this game. He's almost to the point. It's going to take another couple of sessions to get him calm and understanding just stand on the box with your 2 front feet. You don't need to do all this leaping around stuff. He loves learning, and he's a very experienced learner, and I get a lot of garbage because of that. So I just have to stay focused on what I want and not down. And not get overexcited about that. I'm not saying no to him. I'm not correcting him. The clicker is doing all the work for both of us. Okay, so let's bring Sally in, and what you're going to see with her, down, is much different because remember, he's a PhD and she's a kindergartner. So she's probably going to, I don't know what she's going to do. She's going to walk around this thing, and I would be very pleased if we got her on the box today, but that's not my expectation. We'll have to show you that next week. So let's go get Sally. We'll have to pick up the box. Okay, so here we are with Sally. We're going to start, and I'm dropping my liverwurst. We're going to start the same process with her. Please remember, it's not going to look nearly as exciting with Sally as it did with Thor. She's a kindergarten. She's still learning to read. She understands a little bit about the click, but we'll see if she's going to put her feet on or not. I'm confident we will. It's just whether it's going to happen today or not. So we don't need the leash for this. I'm going to click and treat her for any interest in the box. Sally. Hi. Well, look what I've got. Yumskis. That yumskis? She turned her head over the box. She turned her head over the box. I'm not going to get stuck doing that. I'm going to shift my position a little bit. Yes. She dropped her head to the box. I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing and trying to reinforce her for. What's funny now is sometimes I'm getting a lot of eye contact from her, which of course is not the behavior I'm working on. So she's sniffing near the box. Took a step to the box. I'm going to try to use much smaller treats so I don't fill her up. So this is a really nice contrast between an experienced learning dog such as Thor and one that's just figuring out the rules of the game. So now I'm going to watch to see if a front foot will be picked up. I'm getting lots of nice looking at me, but again, that's not what I'm looking for. All right, I have to keep her in the game, so I'm going to click her for hanging out near the box. You can't let, it's called the rate of reinforcement, and you can't let your rate of reinforcement drop to nothing, which means there's no clicks and no treats, especially with a dog like her, or she won't play the game anymore. Oh, good. She stepped over the box. You can see a little bit that I get a little bit more behavior or motion. You know, there's nothing big happening here. I certainly don't want to click the barking. It's interesting to me that she barks, but she stays. She doesn't want to. Oh, good job. She touched the box with her foot. Her tail's wagging. You can tell that this isn't stressing her out. Again, it's a slow process. The first learning experience is slow, but all subsequent learning will accelerate once she understands the game. And she's still learning the game. What's going to be great in the weeks to come is that you're really going to see how this process progresses. So it's interesting. She's not offering too many movements, but she's also not wandering away. There's a lot going on. So these sessions, when I'm working with her, I try to get 3 or 4 very quick, short sessions a day with her. You don't want your kindergartner to burn out. And I want this to be fun and enjoyable for her. So she travels with me most places I go. If I'm visiting a friend, I take all of my equipment with me. That's why being prepared is so important. And I can get a few sessions in there as well. So let me see if I step away from the box, if that makes her move towards it. Sometimes adjusting your position can help. I'm going to call that a day with her because I don't want to bore all of you to tears, and I don't want her to get too bored with the whole game as well. So these sessions will be very short, and I look forward to showing you her progress in the weeks to come. All right, so just to recap, today on Doggy Dilemmas, you've met Mustang Sally. She and I are a part of this extreme mutt makeover contest that's happening in Fort Worth, Texas on August 13th and 14th. Thank you, baby. She would have otherwise been euthanized. So she has a second leash on life. 15 trainers from around the country have been selected. We've each received a dog, and we have 8 weeks to train her. So the next 8 weeks on the Doggy Dilemma TV show, we're going to be showing you her progress. I think it's going to be very exciting to see that. We're going to work on the barkings. I'm not a fan of that. And get her, start this process and get her trained and trainable so that she'll be adopted after the contest is all over. We worked on some healing. We worked on some eye contact. We worked on sits, downs, and stands. Hang on. I know. That's a better option. Good girl. And I showed you with Thor how the final healing pattern will have to work, what one of the goals is for her. Thank you for tuning in to Doggy Dilemmas, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Having a doggy dilemma? Denise can help. www.denisemazzola.com. Denise Mazzola is a certified professional dog trainer with over 20 years of experience. She specializes in new puppy consultations, rowdy dogs, aggressive dogs, and private lessons.